Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. You can find more episodes on any podcasting platform such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to follow Spoiler Force Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch.
This is Mo Lowery, and you are listening to the Spoiler Force Podcast.
This is a FlowGasm Beats production.
All right, so this is episode 87 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. As you can see, I have an extra guest with me this week. You can see my cousin Moang here. He's been with me for a couple episodes here, and he's also been on one of the Demon Slayer episodes that I had. So if you haven't checked that one out, definitely do. But let me introduce my new guest here. I've met him at Liberty Comics. Shout out to the guys there, Gail, Howard, Chuck, whoever else I missed. But John here has helped me with some of my comic pulls, and every time I go there, he's always helping me out and assisting me with stuff. But I have him on this episode this week because he's also an Attack on Titan fan, and I'm glad to have him on the podcast. So John, thank you for joining me.
Dang, thank you for inviting me. And I'm also a very new Attack on Titan fan.
Yeah, because when we first when I met you, you said you were coming. You just got back from China, which was something that was really cool that we talked about. And just a little bit of a background. That's how the Attack on Titan talk started, because when you just got back, I honestly didn't even notice you were like you were already working at Liberty, and I thought you were just like a new employee there. So that was pretty that was a pretty funny moment when I was like, "Are you new here?" No, I've been here. I just got back from overseas. But yeah, man, Attack on Titan, dude.
Yeah, I always joke, at least with Liberty, I always joke I'm like the kind of like the troll in the back, because like I've been there for years. I've been there for like a decade or even more so. But I'm always like in the back and I look like a customer, so no one ever actually knows I work there because I'm just digging through comics.
But yeah, you just recently binged Attack on Titan from season 1 till now with the latest season. So what were your thoughts on that since you just binged through it?
So I did watch Attack on Titan season 1 when it first came out. What was that, like 2013?
Oh man, that was a long
Was it that? Something like that? Like seriously,
around 13. Yeah.
Yeah. So like as soon as that came out, I watched it, and then like I feel like I was just waiting so long for that second season and just forgot it came out. And then like I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, I missed it. And then now I was here and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the final season. I'm like, all right, let me go back and rewatch everything. But honestly, like, I don't know, I loved it. Like I'm loving every aspect of it. And I know people love the Titan part, but like I feel like I'm one of the kind of few people who's like the weirdo who just loves like the political drama and like the human characters the most out of like everything. Like I actually had some friends who said like season 2 was the worst, or they fell out of it because they're like, it got boring. But for me, I was like so engaged in season 2. I was like, oh shoot. I'm like, they got these church people and they got all this, and I'm like, there's a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's what actually like sparked our conversations at Liberty with Attack on Titan. When I have this like little running gag, or I know people have it too, but then like I always tell John, like it's woke anime. It's some like really real shit that's happening with today's world. Especially with like conspiracy theorists and how today's society is. Everyone's like kind of just angsty and kind of aware of what's happening. And with Attack on Titan, like what John was saying, the church cult and all the things behind the scenes, it just made this show even that much better because there's so many realistic, I guess you could say, applications or real life metaphors in this show compared to today's world. But yeah, man, because like the thing is, again, John pretty much rewatched and binged from season 1 again till now with the latest season, and every time like John slowly caught up with each season, like, oh my god, this, oh my god, that, so like that's when I knew, like, okay, we're almost there. He's almost there to catch up with us on the latest season.
Yeah, I was messaging you because I had no one else to really message because everyone like they didn't get caught up, or they're like, He's like, yeah, I've only watched like maybe season or episode 13, season 1. I was like, dang, you gotta watch more.
But to the main topic, man. Attack on Titan season 4 just ended about a week or so ago. It's about a week today, right?
Yeah.
Because it's today's recording date is the 4th of April. So yeah, it's been about a week. It really sucks though that it was only 16 episodes. But I'm glad that that Mappa still picked it up and did what they were able to do with it, because they were doing Jujutsu Kaisen, and they also did like God of High School last year too, and to pick up a big project like this, especially during this time, and only releasing 16 episodes in that quality.
They confirmed that they're gonna do, like, we're gonna get more episodes, right?
Yes, I was gonna get to that, Moang. Yes, so season 4 part 2 is actually for winter 2022. And John and I, we spoke about this too. John thinks that it could be a little bit earlier, like even though it says winter 2022, it could be like late December, since usually that's when they drop winter anime too.
Because I think like Japan's schedule, the TV schedule, anime schedule is a little bit different than like America's.
Right.
So like when they say like winter 2021 would have been like December 2020, January 2021, February 2021. So I think like that's what I'm hoping. I don't know. I'm kind of praying for that.
I hope so too, man. Like what? Because if you count from like, let's say from last week until let's say the mid-December, that's about 8 months or so. That's a lot of time to work on something like that and give a full. Hopefully, they give like a good 24 or at least 20 episodes, if anything, 20 episode anime for part 2. But I'm kind of glad that they stuck with part 2. Mong and I, we talked about like how we thought it was going to be like a trilogy movie at the end.
Yeah, from what I heard with a lot of other podcasts talking, I thought it was going to be, they finished this final season, and then we get like a trilogy or a double movie for the final or finale. I'm assuming that still might be the case, but I haven't read the manga yet, and I don't know how much story's left.
You should read the manga. There's only one more chapter left, man. Oh man, okay. Let me just get this rant out for the Attack on Titan manga fans. I can't believe there's only one chapter left. Oh my god. Friday, April 9th, man. By the time this episode drops, the manga would have already been done, but I'm just surprised and shocked at the same time. Like I've fallen in love with these characters since like 2013. I don't think I spoke about this on the podcast, but I didn't get into Attack on Titan until after season 1 was finished. And I had a friend of mine and my cousin Lee, or known as Lemon Dome. He's been on the podcast too, but he introduced me to Attack on Titan right after season 1 just finished. And so I was going to Macomb Community College during that time, and during my breaks, I'd watch Attack on Titan, and I've been so hooked to this series. Everyone knows that break from season 1 and 2, that about 5 years, that long break. And it was either you were going to stick with the anime or jump on the manga. And I jumped on the manga and got ahead of everyone. But still, man, this entire show has been nothing but phenomenal. And, it's funny how it's still a shonen genre, but with how serious it is, I don't think it should be shonen.
No, not really.
So with season 4, what were you going to say, John?
Could I be like the ignorant person and ask what is shonen? Like, what is it? Am I allowed to ask that stupid question?
Yeah. It's not ignorant, man. Yeah. In case for viewers who don't know, Mong, you're better explaining it than I am. Can you explain that?
So in Japanese, it literally means young person. It's like a young hero. So you look at like Naruto. You look at the 3 main, like Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. Those are like the classic shonens. So it's if you have a young hero protagonist, then it's pretty much a shonen. And then you look at the new ones today, which is like My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer is definitely a shonen. Even though it kind of isn't a little bit, but it still is, because it leans more towards the shonen side, whereas Attack on Titan is much different because it's more politically driven, and it's more horror. It's a lot more horror than it is shonen, because shonens typically which is why like you look at like a Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul would be a shonen, but it's also a little bit too horror. So like I would put like Tokyo Ghoul and Attack on Titans almost in the similar like category because they fall in the line between like horror and young hero. It's a really weird line with the genre categories, but it pretty much if there's a young hero, then you could theoretically call it a shonen.
Yeah, and there's also like a lot of psychological thriller to it too. With these kind of, especially with like you brought up with Tokyo Ghoul, definitely a lot of psychological thriller. I mean, especially with that ending for season 1 where the main hero's getting picked apart.
Yeah,
that's some. I don't know, man. I don't. This is where if you listen to episode 84, me and Moang, we talked about like how parents are letting their kids watch shit like this. With like Demon Slayer thinking that it's for kids, but there's some real adult shit going on behind the scenes. But yeah, to continue on to Attack on Titan season 4, man, it starts off with the time skip, which was quite confusing to some people who didn't get it at first. Because like the thing is, they didn't even say a time skip; they just kind of threw you out there. And by the time you're in the middle of the war with all these new faces, and especially when I was reading the manga part, like it got so confusing because like they all look the same. I don't know who's who. And you have to relearn all these new names. And Attack on Titan has a very like European esque names, like Falco and Marco and Piek and Gabby. Very.
I always
European
wondered this. Can we just rant about this for a second? Why the heck like it's in Japanese? Why are they choosing such like difficult names like Bruhoto? I'm like, why are you choosing this name?
I think it's because a lot of the characters in this show are actually German based. So Mikasa is literally the only one that's Asian, kind of. So like Eren, like it was funny. Like I remember there was a conversation about this with when the live action Attack on Titans came out, and people were giving a shit because in reality they should all be white in German.
True, like Armin, Armin's blonde, Reiner's blonde, Annie's blonde. Like there's a lot of European based characters, and especially like with Attack on Titan, like they don't flat out say like it's a mixture of people now. It's not even like there's no more territories. You don't even learn about that until season 4, and excuse me, and it just makes it even more, I guess. For basic fans, it makes it even more confusing because now they're speaking Japanese, but then they have like all these different names, so it like gets confusing. Like, so what is Eren then? Is he Asian or is he German? Because his last name's literally Jaeger. So with season 4 again, they start off with war, and then you just see like Falco and Gabby, who are more of the main recruits out of those kids, and then finally when they review Reiner and Zeke. Then it starts to pick up, but then you kind of learn about Marley, the other side, because they leave off season 3 with Eren pointing out to the ocean, saying the enemies are over there. So now we learn that there's another land or another group of people besides the people of Paradise Island, and you kind of get more of Reiner's backstory, kind of see who he is besides being the soldier or the warrior, and then you kind of just learn the politics behind the scenes with Marley, especially with the Tiber family. Willie Tiber, who is one of the leaders there, and how he's giving his propaganda speech, I like to call it. One of the guys that I spoke with on the podcast earlier, or a couple episodes ago, Mike Castro from Nebula Amusement, shout out to him. He brought up a really good point, like how they kind of give you the truth to the people of Marley, but they also kind of like twist it, and they're giving the speeches to the people and telling them the story of like how the Eldians and Marleyans went to war and all this history, and then they kind of twist it to oh man, so like we would have peace and we had peace, but then now there's a new usurper, which is Eren, and they just start like these devils and like hyping all these people up with all these I guess you could say like propaganda facts. And then, there's also that twist too in the beginning of season 4 where Eren infiltrated Marley. And so you kind of see like this, it's like full circle again, where instead of like Berthold, Annie, and Reiner infiltrating Paradise Island, it's the opposite way now. And now Eren is the supposed Titan or the monster that attacks these innocent people. And it kind of just gives viewers a different look at how maybe there is no real bad guy. It's always like war based, and you kind of see it also in like the characters again, like Falco and Gabby, where they are now the kids seeing the Titans attacking their town or their area. But then you also have the backstory with Eren, so you can kind of relate to Eren attacking Marley, and of course, a lot of fans agreed on Eren's decision. And when he finally transforms and attacks and eats Billy Tiber during that speech, that's when all hell breaks loose. And that's where it really picks up. So I want to get your guys' thoughts, like besides that whole wrap up of the beginning, but when they really start fighting, what were your guys' thoughts on that? Like from that point on.
Okay.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I think they did the first arc with the attacking Marley arc. I think they did a really good job with all the animations and just how they ran everything. Because it almost kind of makes sense in a way because with the studio change, it makes it feel even more different, and with like the time skip, and you can kind of get a feel for how everything is different. And the CG was fine. I think for me, I think the buildup was really good. Overall, I just had a really good impression of the first half, basically, or that first arc. Even like with the CG, I think my only issues would be like Mikasa looked really weird. She looked really weird with the short hair because I think they never explained it in the story. It was they asked I forgot the author's name already, but they asked basically the way he explained it is he never wrote it in, but she basically cut her hair off accidentally. That's what I heard.
Like in a fight or what?
No, I think training. I think in a training something. During the time skip. So that's what I heard. Because I don't think it was in the manga where they explained where she cut her hair. But there was that. And then Armin looks pretty good. He looked way different, and then the way he uses Titan, but. I think it was great. Just seeing how it was a polar like opposite, or like a reversal of season 1 with Eren being the one experiencing it, and then now him just literally murdering drones of people, and it was pretty shocking to see like the new characters die. Some of the new characters die with the cadets, and then Gabby obviously being one of the most hated characters now. There's not honestly. I don't think there's too much to talk about. I thought it was pretty well done. It was interesting seeing the new CG, I guess. I still prefer the season 1 to 3 style of animations, but I mean the first time seeing this one, it wasn't that bad at all. I think it comes down to later if we talk about the Zeke versus Levi fight. I had more issues with that, but
we'll touch up on that in the later on. But I get what you're saying though. Yeah, because like the animation that Mappa brought in for Attack on Titan, especially with this opening war scene, it's definitely animated for action-based sequences, and it was really smooth. I thought it was really great. But like you said, Moang, with seasons 1 to 3, man, the storytelling through that animation it's so much different. So it did bring up it does make it a little bit hard to watch for hardcore fans because noticing details like that. Mm-hmm. But I think. Again, like we said with earlier before we started recording, I think Mappa did a great job for what for the time that they had. Mm-hmm. But John, what are your thoughts? Just from the opening scenes from that to where Eren just goes nuts on Marley.
Actually, that opening scene, I had to go back an episode and make sure I didn't miss an episode. Since I was just binging everything, I was like, wait, what? What's going on? Because it doesn't actually say like what season is what. It just says episode 60, episode 61. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, no, but I don't know. Since I wasn't watching it so long and didn't really, even though I loved the animation before, I definitely saw a difference. I actually wasn't really bothered by like the new animation at all. I think just as like a casual fan, but I don't know. I kind of just really liked everything. I hated Gabby. I know later we'll probably talk about her, but she's growing on me. Like by the end of this first part, I'm also kind of like, there's hope. I don't know, maybe we'll talk about that later, but one thing I do love is that like Eren's just bleeding hand at all times, just his gun. Yes. Essentially just like pointing a gun at somebody, he's like, look at my hand. I'm about to turn. He's like, listen to me.
Yeah, you brought up a great point with that because he did that to almost everyone he was threatening.
Mhm.
To Ryan,
Yeah.
to Mikasa and
Mhm.
Armin, to even Piek at the end. He was just
Mhm.
like, you
Yeah,
can't mess
wasn't
up.
that last one? It was just like his finger too.
Yeah,
it was
it
just like
was
one
literally
little
just his
drop.
finger.
Yeah.
He's like,
Mhm.
you better say the right thing to me, or else I'll just turn on you. Like he is an absolute savage with his powers now. Like he has no remorse whatsoever. He will pull the trigger. And again, with this war scene, man, like how ruthless he was, especially like right when the Warhammer Titan gets revealed, you find out it's one of the Tiber's family members, but she transforms, and mid transformation, Eren just hits her. Like it breaks all the anime laws. It's always like let them transform and then fight, but Eren just goes reckless and just hits her mid transformation, and just like I can't. It's not even just the fight. Like I'm a big I love the music in Attack on Titan and just the I forgot the title already. It's something about like something fire. I think that's what the title was. But it's just that hearing that orchestrated music and that chorus going in the background where Eren's just going crazy, it adds so much more tension to what the situation was, and not just them fighting, but like what Moang brought up, like with all these new characters, you just see them get killed. Like these new cadets that they literally just introduced, most of them got wiped out. You're experiencing people, the Marleyans fear seeing Eren attack them, and it just a lot of buildup in this fight. And with Eren just being by himself, really at this point, fighting, he brings in a lot of attention, and you just see like I think it was before he transformed. Like they kind of showed like the other soldiers, like Piek and Galliard or Porco, like they got tricked. They got dropped into that little hole.
Mhm.
So like they were teasing with that too, and I forgot about that. I was gonna bring that up too, like just the buildup of how Falco knew Eren, but that was a pretty good twist to it too, like how Eren already infiltrated them. Okay, I'm gonna backpedal here. What did you guys think of Eren meeting his grandfather? I'm going to backpedal here before we go on with the fights, because there's like a part in the anime where Eren is still Kruger, and the old man talks to him, and Eren brings up the fact that like didn't you have kids or someone in your family died, and that old man went nuts, and it turns out that's actually his grandpa. What'd you guys think of that?
I think it was an interesting introduction
At
to
first,
Eren.
I
And,
laughed.
yeah,
What was it,
yeah, it was crazy, and yeah, it was kind of funny.
John?
Because like when they introduce him, we don't know he's Eren yet, right? He's just like
Yeah.
Kruger.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
I didn't really like know it was like, oh yeah, it was his grandfather. It wasn't until like before starting the podcast where I'm like, let me review what was going on until I realized like, oh shoot, Mr. Yeager? It's like the guy, and I kind of rewatched that scene. And then I was thinking like, dang, Eren's like cold hearted because like this is his grandfather, and he's just like letting him like, I don't know, kind of be overwhelmed with regret and just start screaming. And it's just like he doesn't care at all.
Yeah, Eren's
Like,
character
man.
has completely switched from season 3 till now. Like his
Yeah.
character has switched from just ruthless, and again to pick up back on the fights where you think Eren is gonna win. Excuse me. The Jaw Titan comes into the fight, and this is where like it really gets crazy with the Jaw Titan jumping in, and then you think Eren is trying to just fight on his own, and then right before he gets, I guess, almost killed by the Warhammer Titan, that's when Mikasa and the scouts come in, and I still get goosebumps. Like watching it versus reading it was so different, because when I first read it in the manga, I was like, oh my gosh, my eyes lit up. But then watching it, I literally screamed and like, let's go. Like I was like, what, as if I was watching a football game. It was absolute craziness, and just seeing all this unravel within like an episode or two, and just seeing how Levi and the scouts and they all just jumped into this fight. What were your guys' thoughts? John, we'll start with you since you're the new guest. But we'll start with you. What did you think seeing like everyone jump into the fight as well with Eren?
I was the same thing. Like I was like so excited, and like, but also it didn't really hit me that like they're kind of looking for Eren yet too. So I thought they were all on the same side until like they're like, oh shoot, Eren like went on his own. But yeah. But
And
yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like I'm not a huge sports fan, but like I'm watching this just with headphones, and like my dad's in the other room, and he's hearing me just like make these like noises, like oh man, oh what? And he's like, you okay over there?
And Moang, your thoughts on that?
It was fun to watch. It was more like these are just screwed, basically, because I guess the fact that they're there means that they did definitely clear the island already of the Titans, and they're all experienced Titan killers, basically. Because if you account for the time skip, and then you watch that scene, you realize that all the scouts are basically experienced Titan killers versus the cadets, who are just they've been killing soldiers, that they've just been massacring people with just using Titans and relying on the Titan abilities, but they're not necessarily used to fighting, like these high level combat fighters. Because the thing is, Reiner and them had time to grow up with a lot of the cadets, and so they kind of already knew how to fight him. But Galliard, he was relatively new, and the way he uses power, he just doesn't have as much experience fighting a lot of the scouts yet, which is the main thing. And then there's just such a huge advantage. You can kind of see how much of an advantage that they had over the Marlians, because they were definitely not ready. So it did a lot of goosebumps, because they were screwed. Even though they had guns, they were just getting wrecked.
Yeah, like there's a part where Galliard's like, I'm a Titan. Shouldn't these people shouldn't I be able to wipe these people out? And you see like just the scouts all jump over him and just pretty much cloud him, and they all just throw thunder spears at him like crazy. And then with them fighting, and then Zeke coming into the fight too, just more build up and tension. And pretty much the Eldians or our people from our perspective of watching this, Eren and the scouts, like they pretty much just go in there to save Eren, and once they do, they just leave, and you just see like this mess and Marley in the city. Gabby is like urging to kill someone. She sees Sasha shoot someone that she knew. I forgot who else was there. One of them. Oh yeah, and Reiner refused to or he did transform subconsciously, but he kind of just sat there. He was benched the whole time, and then right when
the Eren season 1.
Yeah, pretty much. He sat there. But once the Eldians and the scouts, once they all left and they were going up in the blimps, because Armin already destroyed the ships and all that, and those were actually the ships that were supposed to go to Paradise, and Armin destroyed those. Once they get on the blimp, and then Armin sees Eren, like he just kind of has this disappointed look in his face, like and then Levi kicks him, and they're just like, you idiot, you left, and Eren practically just betted on the fact that they were going to come and help him regardless, even though he knew what he was doing was wrong. And so as they're celebrating, and then you see Flock, the guy from what's funny about Flock's character is like he's so hardcore now in this season, but then in the last season he was such a wimp, because he the last time we see him, he was carrying Erwin's body and up to the roof, and he was a totally different character. But now he's like pretty much like a leader in the season. He's like, yeah, we won. This is a victory for us. And this is where like everyone's heart just dropped, because you see like John, Connie, and Sasha like, oh, we survived another one. It just we're together. Gabby and Falco followed the blimp, and Gabby's an absolute killer. People forget that she's a kid, but man, she's a killer. She's such a sharpshooter. She shoots one of the scouts guys, takes his maneuver gear and climbs up to the blimp, rolls over and just shoots Sasha. And reading this in the manga, I was so shocked. So I could not wait to see people's reactions when she gets killed in the anime. And everyone was just upset. And because of this is where all the hate for Gabby came to fruition. So John, again, we'll start with you. When they get to that part where Sasha gets killed, what were your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I knew one of the three were going to get killed. As soon as they made that comment earlier about kind of having hey, we survived everything, we're all together, I'm like, one of you are gonna die really soon. And then like I feel like even like the title, what's the title of the episode that she gets shot? Like Assassin's Bullet, something like that. Yeah, I feel like that kind of like spoiled it because I'm like, all right, she has to kill someone important in here, and it has to be one of the three, but I didn't really know who. Yeah, I didn't really think Sasha. I was thinking, who's the other dude? Who's the
Connie?
Yeah, Connie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking like,
Now,
honestly,
I guess, were you a big Sasha fan though, or?
I was, yeah, because like my top characters are Hanji, was it Eren, or not Eren, but how do you pronounce the commander? He's like,
Armin?
I feel like Arwen, yeah, him and Sasha, yeah, and Armin. Did I say Armin?
Yeah, like I think with her death, because originally Isayama, the writer, he wanted her to get killed back in season 2, where she saved that little girl from the Titan, the bow and arrow. That's actually where she was supposed to die, and I guess one of the writers in the back cried reading that and told Isayama to not do it, so he actually let her live up until that point. So she was destined to die, but then still, I mean, Isayama is such a, I don't want to say mean things about it, but he's such a terrific writer because he knows how to pull your heartstrings with these characters. He builds you up to like these characters individually, and just like, all right, what, there's this meme on Facebook where he has the dartboard and he just throwing the darts at the characters, like which character am I taking out today? He just throws the dart and hits Sasha. But yeah, man, it's just that death, man. It was a hard one to watch. Moang, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was kind of foreseen. You could kind of tell that one of them's gonna die, and probably Sasha might be. I think Sasha makes the most sense because she was. I mean, at the same time, not really, because she was basically the comic relief of the group. Because just the way her character's built, her character is just kind of ridiculous. The way she treats food, and she's been kind of the comic relief since season 1. Just the way her character is built. She was just naturally agile, but that's what helped her survive. But just the way her character is structured, and I mean, it made sense that she would have died early, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense to keep her because it was comic relief. But I liked how Isayama used her character death throughout the season 4, because it was more, because I think that her death wasn't just simple. I think that's what I liked about her death. Is it does go further into the story, into the season, but I think her death probably works the best out of everybody, just the way that Isayama set it up. Because Connie's would have been kind of hard because all his parents are already dead, and then I mean, Jean would have made sense because a lot of people don't really like Jean. But it made sense. It was kind of hard not to see it coming because someone was gonna die, and the way they were building up Gabby's like hate, she was gonna kill somebody, and I think Sasha kind of made the most sense, and freaking Eren's laugh when she died.
Before we touch up on Eren's comment, right where Gabby shoots him, and she's like, I don't know if I forgot if she celebrated, but she shoots Sasha, and then Flock and the other cadets or the other scouts are like, oh my god, let's just jump her, and like they swarm her, and I mean, like, they gave no fucks, like they beat the shit out of these kids. I sent John this meme on Messenger, and it was like, I don't know if you guys seen, like, it was like initiation for a gangbanging, and they're like, fight back, fight back. And so they're like attacking her, and then someone even made a rap mix or like a remix of Sasha. It was like it was like a trap song. It was like, fuck Gabby, fuck Falco. Like they literally, like, I love
don't bring Falco into this.
Right, like they literally like made this whole hate Gabby thing a thing, and on Twitter it was insane seeing how like all these anime watchers were like just going insane, and even comedian Long Beach Griffey took advantage of this and was like, you know what, man, I'm for free Gabby, free Gabby, free Falco, he was for them. And it was, oh man, I love how the internet just takes advantage of stuff like this, and make it into something more than just the anime, and it forces like other viewers and other like new watchers to come and tune into this anime, and just again something simple like that, man, just hating a character, and not just a character, like a little girl, but then we forget she's a trained soldier. She's bred to kill, and she did what she thought was right, and she's practically what Eren is in certain senses. But after Sasha gets killed, Connie and the others tell Eren, and then this is where we learned kind of like a twist here, where Zeke was in on it too. So before we break down more, what were your guys' thoughts on Zeke being revealed on the airship with them? Because they made it seem like Levi kind of killed him. John, we'll start with you. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fine. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm still wary about this, about like the whole Zeke thing. Like maybe I need to rewatch it again, but like for some reason I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is he? Like, I don't know, why are they agreeing to bring him along and everything? Especially after like watching like season 3, and he was just like, was it perfect game? He's just throwing the rocks, just destroying everybody, because his whole goal is kind of like not allowing Eldians to give birth, right? Yeah, that's like essentially his whole goal is that, and like it's fairly humane in a sense. Like, yeah, it sucks you can't give birth, but it's also like he's doing it in like the most humane way in a sense. But like I feel like it kind of contradicts, like, yo, you just been slaughtering people this whole time, and like even though it is kind of a crappy solution, I feel like if you would have just like told some people, you would have maybe had like a quarter or a third or a half of like the population kind of be on your side in a sense, or at least have some people on the island, even like the military, be on your side, where it's like, dude, why do you like totally just kill all these people just to kind of team up with them? So like for me, I don't know, I'm like not a huge fan of it.
What were your thoughts? Now that just for Zeke, but did you have any thoughts on like I guess just seeing how the scouts and even Levi work with someone like Zeke?
Yeah.
Because like it's not just Zeke too. It's the Eldians too. Like they are willingly working with Zeke, knowing that he murdered their own.
Yeah. Yeah, that. Maybe I'll pass that. Moang, what do you think?
I think it's tough because a lot of it didn't make sense at first because nothing was explained yet. I think once they explained everything, it made a little bit more sense because they, especially in the last few episodes where they go through his storyline or his backstory, it made a bit of sense. And this is where I really like Isayama's storytelling, because he actually tries to give us, or he gives us a pretty explanation of why the characters were doing their motives and why they were doing what they were doing. Because in a way, every single character has a flawed way of thinking, and especially Zeke. And I mean, the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is why Levi just didn't kill Zeke and take his powers, because that would have ended the whole manga.
Yeah, the love-hate relationship between Zeke and Levi, man, like these two have been at it, and they're definitely aware of each other's skill. I mean, I think more so that Zeke is more afraid of Levi, knowing what he can do and how dangerous Levi is too. But yeah, back on the ship though. I mean, because like this is where like they're questioning him, and Levi even tells him like, "I'm not scared to kill you. I want to kill you right now. You're just lucky I'm not doing it." And Connie comes in and tells them that Sasha's been killed, and Mikasa and Armin, of course, run out. But then, like we mentioned earlier, Eren laughs at the fact that Sasha's dead, and he thinks back to like when they were on top of the wall, and she has like that huge rack of meat, and that's pretty much what she said before she died was meat, and he just laughs to himself. And what are your guys' thoughts on Eren's, I guess, psyche at this point, knowing that he's laughing at someone that was close to him's death like that?
I mean, he did that for that one guy that got eaten by his
Oh yeah,
dad's ex-wife.
for Hannes, yeah, they got
Yeah,
the
yeah.
soldier.
When Hannes got eaten, dude was laughing like crazy too. So I
Yeah.
mean,
What are your thoughts, John, on Eren's psyche up to this point?
Maybe I'm evil, but I actually think it's okay that he laughed at it because I also think like, yeah, it's like Sasha loved food and she particularly just loved meat. And it's kind of like suiting that like the last thing she said was like meat or just like food in general. So like I don't know. Like in that sense, like it shouldn't be funny, but like
It's
I may
almost
have
like
laughed if I thought about it too.
yeah, it's almost like dark humor in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was more of a powerlessness. Like no matter how strong Eren gets, he can never save those that are closest to him. Because I think because they also did the flashbacks. Like the entire crew, the original crew, they were really close, and he was willing to give his he wasn't willing to give his Titan to anybody because he cared for them so much, even though they knew that he had to. And I think that's why it's very similar. That laugh was basically the exact same kind of laugh when Hans died, because he was just laughing at how powerless he was, knowing that he's been training his entire life to fight Titans, but he still can't save the ones he loves.
That's an excellent point, Mo,
Yeah.
to bring up
Mm-hmm.
because with again with all this power that Eren has, and even his newest power with the Warhammer Titan, which he consumed. I forgot to bring that up too. I'm like slipping today, like because I'll just bring this up really quickly because how he used the Jaw Titan to crack the crystallization to take the Warhammer Titan. That was pretty creative, but still, like even with all that power, and especially knowing that he has the founding Titan's power now, again with this helplessness that you brought up, Mo, Eren just can't. I think he's come to realize like he can't save everyone, and I think it's hard for someone like him to accept that as well, and which is why he laughs at not. I don't think he's laughing at the fact that his friends are getting killed. I think he's laughing at himself, like you idiot, or like to himself, like you idiot, you can't save everyone, I guess in a sense too, it's like that's why he went by himself because he wouldn't he knew that they'd come save him, but I guess he just didn't want to put the chances of his friends or the people close to him to risk their lives and to lose it like that. And we kind of just see the side of Eren where we're accepting the fact that he's going out and getting revenge and killing people, but deep down he's a very broken character, and especially with his powers and what he's seen, all the chips are it's in his hands. Really, he has control of almost everything, and especially with Zeke being with them too in his plans, we all know what could happen if he touched someone like Zeke, and which will unlock his powers, like we've seen in season 2, where he touched the I guess you could say his stepmom or Zeke's mom, and how the founding Titan's ability was awakened through just a touch. So in a sense, I think that's why they still kept Zeke around, because they knew that was an opportunity for not just to take the power from Zeke, but to know that Eren could do something. They're hoping. I'm assuming they're hoping that Eren would do something good with that, but we all know later on in the season he doesn't. So, so when they get back to Paradise Island, though, I mean, you just kind of see a lot of the flashbacks of what's happened. Like Moang said, the scouts are our main crew. They're willing to give their life to Eren or take the power from Eren. Even someone like John or Gene, as some people I call him John, but even he was willing to say, like, let me take that power from you. And we've seen the history of these two characters. Him and Eren always butt heads, and to see someone like that willingly try to do something like this for Eren, I think Eren knows like he doesn't want none of his friends to do it. And you just kind of see like I guess Eren's learning more about like the politics of war and the strategies of what they can and what they can do. And then you see more of like the people from overseas, like I don't know, like these groups and clans, but like you see like the Asians, and then there's even the Onyon Kinpo, the black. I think I'm butchering that name, but the black character in there, which I think he's the only black character in Attack on Titan right now. I have not seen any other African American or African type character besides Onyon Kinpo, because he's.
it was more of just an introduction, just to let them know that they are mixed races, and that I
Mhm.
think they only really needed one. I mean, they
Yeah.
could have ran like an army, but I think Isayama just ran. Maybe it was just inclusion.
I just think it's kind of
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of weird that they just have the one, you know, like at least
I don't know. I see him
start,
as like maybe he's a diplomat, because that's
Maybe,
kind of how I see
yeah.
like the other characters as well, like that party they went to, like like
there's like
Gabby
one of
and
everyone
Falco and all.
there.
Yeah.
Yep. Like
It makes sense though because of the emphasis that they put on Mikasa. It's just the issue with Mikasa being Asian, there being a rare Asian type, is that uh, Eren and all the others look Asian.
yeah.
Yeah, so like again, it just makes it different because Mikasa is also. I mean, she is half Eldian as well because her dad, but she's and then she's from the Ackerman clan as well, so she's really mixed and diverse compared to like the other Asian groups. And then you see kind of like the Asian group, they had kind of had their thing with Mikasa, like they want to make sure that she stays alive so she can kind of carry on their clan. And you can see them working with parodies like, oh no, we never really wanted to work with Marley, we just kind of stuck by them, but now that we see you guys fighting back, we want to fight back with you guys too. So now you see like all these countries coming together pretty much, and all these powerful people working together. And when they get back to the island, Eren gets put in jail for what he's done. And he's slowly cracking, man. Like he looks in the mirror and he's like saying fight, and then this scene was different in the manga because like in the anime where Hanji confronts Eren and Eren like talks back to her, how like his eyes change. I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing that part in the manga because like the anime did it so well to where like he charged almost like Super Saiyan. He charged his powers, and then you see his eyes go to the Titan form. But up to this point, what were your guys' thoughts on just seeing like how everything unfold with the politics and just seeing more of the backstory of this season? John?
Like overall for everybody or for
yeah, just like because like from this point on, it's just mostly just dialogue.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, I kind of hate Isayama right now because like it makes me care for every single character. Like even like Rainer, where it's like originally it's like kind of like, all right, let him die. I don't care. He betrayed everyone. He killed everybody. But now I'm just like I'm rooting for him. Like I really. Even though the end of this season, I know we're not there yet, but where he's kind of coming in and is ready for that battle, I still like don't want him to fight Eren too much. I still want them to team up.
And Moang, up to this point, like, what were your thoughts on? Like, I guess because it's at this point, it's a lot of politics again.
Yeah, I think it was tough because, especially for more of the very casual action shonen fans, I think it's pretty boring overall. If you're just going in expecting a lot of action, which is why like season 2 was a little bit rough because it was fighting here and there, a lot of skirmishes, but a lot of it did turn into a lot of like it was kind of a bit slow. And this final season was like on steroids with slow because it was basically just build up, like almost like 9-10 episodes of just build up for the final arc or the final act with Eren taking over, and then the whole Zeke versus Levi scene. I think it depends on the person of the people, because if you're invested in the story, it's actually it works, especially with Gabby's arc. I think they do a really good job at explaining the parallels between the Eldians from the island and the Eldians in Marley. Just how indoctrinated the Marleyans are because of like the whole racism thing or segregation, the crap that they go through, which doesn't make sense because I don't know why they stay there with all that hate. But at the same time, I did really like Gabby's arc because I think her not dying doesn't make sense because her story arc is kind of like more like an eye opener that that how indoctrinated she was to hate her own people that were that they were the same blood and people,
right?
But they just, because they were on the island, they just treated them like monsters. And especially when the whole Sasha arc where the girl that Sasha saved, and the scene where she was asking why her mom died and why Titans ate their families. I think that was a really good. It's also a really good episode for like today's time with politics, especially. I think people can kind of pick one side, like all Trump supporters or woke left. But for me, it's both. It's like both sides are indoctrinated to hate one or the other. And I think Gabby is a really good incorporation of that human side that humans have in real life, that we are unconsciously biased or indoctrinated to believe we're right, and we treat the other side like crap. And I think that was like one of my favorite moments, because you can apply that to both sides. And oh no, I think that was probably the highlight of all the boring drama. And then once it started, like with the wine, and they started explaining the wine part and
Yes.
everything, it was just, I'm like, yes, it's going downhill from here. Let's go.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback up on what you said, Moang. You brought up another great point. I spoke with I messaged with John about this whole woke culture about picking sides and how there's no good guy or bad guy, but that is true. I mean, yeah, we all hate Gabby, but then Gabby has such a radical mindset. She's born and bred to believe all these things that she was taught, and with I guess with just the propaganda of war and seeing how things are turning out, like she starts questioning herself, like, man, what my beliefs. She really starts questioning her beliefs, like, how can I still be loyal to Marley, but then at the same time, these people aren't bad. They treat me good and they give me food and they're not evil. And again, it applies like to how Reiner's character was. We kind of see like some of the flashback with Reiner, how devoted he was to being a warrior cadet, just to have his brain snapped in two, and now he thinks he's a soldier for the Paradise Island. And there really is no hero or villains in this story, which I love that Isayama brought up, because it's so realistic. And again, like how we are born in the States here, we're it's almost similar to how we are. Like we see things from one perspective, but then depending on the person, do we really want to learn the other side, or do we kind of just stay back and kind of observe everything? And I'm not trying to get like too woke or too deep into this kind of thought process, but that's what makes this show so great, because it really makes you think. Because the show is fiction, so it makes it more, you can watch it because it's fiction, but there's so many realistic ideas being brought to light. So John, did you have any input at all about this topic that we're on?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'm glad you like brought this up, because honestly, this is my favorite part of the show, was actually the whole Sasha getting killed, Falco's Falco's kind of changing of his ideas about like he's not strong enough, like pretty much going back to like Gabby being the hero, pretty much being like a jock in a sense, like, yeah, I killed all these people, yeah, look at me, I'm gonna be the armored titan. And like Falco's kind of in the way, and like, or I don't know how to explain this, I guess. I don't really know what I'm trying to say here, but pretty much like seeing how his psychology is changing, and he wants to be the armored titan to protect Gabby. Like I kind of like that, like he's kind of in love with Gabby in a sense, even though she's just crazy, like a little bit. But talking with Reiner, seems like he gets motivated to become the armored titan, realizing like, hey, it's not fun to be a titan, and you're gonna die in 13 years anyways. And that's if you don't get killed or eaten before that. So like, why would you want to do that? And I kind of like how, I don't know, his thought about just becoming a titan has changed. And then I'm really glad he was in the room with Eren and Reiner, like before Eren went crazy. Right. And that kind of showed like him hearing that conversation, I think really changed the mentality of Falco, where he's hearing Eren like, here's the devil, here's the biggest devil of them all, talking with like one of the biggest heroes, I guess you can say, who destroyed the wall and everything, saying that we're the same person. I'm about to do the same thing you did. He's like, I'm going to be the devil for your people as you are the devil for my people. And then this sense, and I think that really ingrained into like Falcon's psychology that like, hey, maybe I'm not on the right side, or maybe none of us are on the right side. And I think establishing that for Falco really helped Gabby and save Gabby's life, because without Falco, for sure, she would be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for sure she would, yeah.
Dude, I would hate to be next to Gabby when she's going ballistic like this.
Yeah.
No, but John, those are, again, you and Moang brought up great points, man. Because like honestly, like I keep repeating myself, but Attack on Titan is like the most realist shit right now, especially in today's world, man. It is so applicable when it comes to these points. And I love how you brought up Falco like that. I even forgot to even like just bring him up, because he's important in that sense, because he is someone that's literally in the middle. He sees what's going on. He's heard both sides. And now it's up to him to make the choice. Like, am I going to fight for Marley, or am I going to protect, or be with the Eldians, who I considered the devils my entire life? Mm-hmm. It's really like some life-changing shit that's going on. And especially when they get to know the farmer or Sasha's parents and all the orphans there, and how Falco is like willing to work with them, but Gabby's still like trying to kill these people. Like,
she's like cold-blooded, man. Yeah. As soon as the little girl came out, she has a big old boulder or whatever, the big old rock in her hand, ready to bash her. Yeah. It's like, relax, Gabby.
He's gonna spear her through with his pitchfork.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, like Gabby is crazy, man. Like she's so, but that's the thing too. Like she's so, I don't want to say brainwashed, but it is in a sense.
She is brainwashed. It's brainwashed and radical
ideas. Yeah, she's so caught up in these ideas.
We didn't even get to the part with Niccolo, like, because I love that part when she goes down to the basement and she's all excited, like, oh yeah, this is it, we're gonna team up, and it's like, wait, you're the girl who killed?
Yeah,
and just like,
no, great point, John. Like, we'll just jump right to it, because it's pretty much what happens next. Like you learn all the stuff, and Gabby and Falco, they break out. She kills one of the scouts, or the scouts that was guarding the jail cell. They meet Sasha's parents and the orphans, and they go have dinner, because Niccolo is a Marleyan who was caught, and he's a chef. And a lot of the memes on Facebook and on Instagram compare him to Gordon Ramsay for some reason. But he cooks for Sasha's parents because Sasha loved food, and especially his food. And so that's why they meet. And then when Gabby realizes, oh shit, there's another Marleyan amongst us, let's team up. And like John said, she goes to the basement and is like, yo, I killed her. I'm the one who killed her. Like, let's team up. And he's like, like John said,
she was proud of it too.
Yeah, like she was bragging that shit to Niccolo. She was like bragging about, like, yo, I killed that bitch. Like I shot her and I killed this bitch. Let's team up. And Niccolo just like turns around, like, are you fucking kidding me? You killed her? And if it, like John said, if it wasn't for Falco, if Falco was always saving her ass, if it wasn't for Falco, she would have been killed.
Falco's such a simp.
Because like he grabs the wine, knocks Falco in the head, and it breaks. And having a wine glass especially break on your head, that's some hard shit. And oh my god.
And then we find out later about the fluid too. It's
which we'll touch up on that. But like in that dinner scene though, man, like it's just how heartbreaking it was to see, because they were pretending to be pretending to be orphan kids or lost kids in the forest. But when Sasha's parents find out, and especially the girl that Sasha saved, when she finds out that Gabby killed Sasha, like she wanted to take her life, and the thing too with Gabby is like she learned about how good Sasha was, like Sasha saved her life. Sasha was helping people, and she kind of feels like this humanization of what the devil that she killed. And it's so crazy to see like Gabby's reaction to this, because even through all this shit, Gabby was still radical. She's like, no, man, you fuckers are the devil, man.
She was just traumatized at that point.
And the thing too, though, I love that Sasha's dad was the one that was like, no, we're not killing her. I had the right to kill her, but I'm not going to kill her. And he chose the better path, which I love that they brought this up, because throughout all this war and all this hate, it applies to us today too. We still have the right to choose what actions we take as people. no matter how evil that the person is, it's your choice to take a life or to not take one. And I think Gabby's dad represents that so well that even throughout all this chaos, he chose to forgive someone who killed his daughter.
It was more when they explained it. It was more that he knew that his daughter could die at any moment. I think when they explained the whole story aspect, the reason why Sasha never wanted to do anything because she just wanted to eat and be selfish, and then she went to the army. The only reason she went to the army was for food. Yeah. But then when she left the forest, he understood that she could die at any moment. So the way they explained it was really a nice touch because he was ready to accept Sasha's death. Even before, even earlier, she died earlier because he knew that she left the forest and it was dangerous outside of the forest, basically.
Do you want to start your own podcast? Then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast onto many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout also offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and also support Spoiler Force Podcast. Happy podcasting. If you're into anime, manga, or anything that's from Japan, Otaku Detroit is the place for you. Located at 513 West, 11 Mile Road in Madison Heights, Michigan, you can find a variety of manga books, anime figures, collectibles, posters, snacks, and even authentic items from Japan. Stop on by to see store owner Matt and let him know Spoiler Force sent you.
So to the spinal fluid now, this is where it starts to pick up. So obviously, Paradise Island, they're intercepting the ships that Marley is sending over. Excuse me. I believe, was it Niccolo and some of the other Marleyans that they already captured? They brought in the wine, right? Was it them or?
I think so. Because it was a very rare Marleyan brand that only high officials could drink.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was another part I liked too about Niccolo yelling at what was it? Who is it? Armin and them drinking about to drink the Connie.
Connie and Jean.
Yeah.
It's Connie and Jean.
Yeah, they were going to drink the wine. He smacked the glass out their hands. Don't drink that shit. He's like, what the fuck?
You aliens, you always devils. You don't deserve this. Where it's
he's low key saving their asses. That's a good part.
What the hell, man? I thought we were friends.
Right? Where it's hey, we are. I was just a tough love.
No, but that's a great point. That's a great point you brought up, John.
Well, one thing too with Niccolo, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think him being in love with Sasha is going to affect Gabby's mentality a lot? As seeing hey, this is somebody who is originally me. This is on my side. Who fell in love with one of these devils and is able to I don't know, love this other society so much. How do you think that's going to affect her at all?
That was part of the whole thing. I think that was part of it.
I mean, they kind of explained that too with Reiner's story because Reiner's dad was Marleyan and his mom is Eldian. But then it just, his dad's ugh. It's just left their asses. And then we kind of learned that about Zeke too and how they're kind of treated, which we'll touch up on Zeke's backstory later on. But then, but I guess I could just assume that maybe in Gabby's point of view, seeing Eldians and Marleyans or the Marleyan Eldians, I guess be together in a romantic sense would be pretty confusing to her. Oh shit, we can breed with them, we can be with them. And not be mean to each other. I think that's that'll be some not traumatizing, but it'll be really confusing for someone like Gabby who believes that these people are absolute nasty, don't touch them type of thing. But with this wine though that they bring over, we learn that it's infused with Zeke's spinal fluid. And Zeke even touched up on the fact that when he turned Connie's village into the Titans, he's the only one with that ability to turn people to Titans, which we all the viewers know why, but the characters in the show they don't. Like even Piek mentions that like I don't know Zeke's intentions. The only time I heard him speak truth is when he met Eren. And so at this point, we just don't know what Zeke's plans are because he's still kept alive and he's practically just a prisoner to Levi. But when we learn that he, I guess they, what's the word? I'm losing track of the word, but like what they, not, I'm gonna say like date rape, but that's not the word. They mix.
Probably not a good word.
I know that's not it. I can't think of the word. What the hell? Like they poisoned the drink with Zeke's spinal fluid.
Spike it.
Yeah, spike it. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like all the drinks.
Like, oh my God, I can't think of the word. I was like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby the drink or something like that. You know, like. Oh, man,
that's the reveal. Zeke is really Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Zeke
pretty much Bill Cosby, the people of Eldian.
Hey, at least they did spinal fluid. It could have been a lot worse.
but okay, so they drink the spiked wine, and it's just we don't know what the. Until Zeke revealed what it does, like we kind of just don't get why Niccolo reacts that way towards our main characters. And then after he hits Falco with the wine, some of it got into his mouth, and then again with the Jaegerists forming up because like they're doing everything behind the scenes too. You know, they helped. Eren broke out. The Jaegerists are all like doing their own thing behind the scenes, like make sure they're gonna go get Zeke. They know about what's happening with the wine, and it was Niccolo, right, that said that to wash out Falco's mouth, or was it Eren that said that?
It was Niccolo or Nikolai. He knew, so that because he knew from the beginning. Because when he freaked out with Connie and Jean touching it, and then when he realized that he got it on top of Falco, he was just freaking out. Then that's what prompted him to. Well, that's what made Hanji freak out, and then she investigated it, and then that's when That's how they learned about Hanji learned about the fluid.
Right. So pretty much that's that's what it is. And then but it goes back to Levi's camp, right? And then the soldiers they're like, oh, we never get to drink stuff like this. And Levi's like, we got tea. You know, Levi's the only one who doesn't drink it. He's like, we got tea. I don't know why y'all want to drink this, but okay, whatever. And it just plays into so much of Levi's character, man. Like this part where you think Zeke. You're already fishy, like viewers are already fishy about Zeke, but then when the plan is revealed and he does the roar, the scream, and all the soldiers that were with Levi like just drop and turn. Like I can only feel like for Levi, like, man, I gave them the okay to drink this. Like all these lives could have been saved if I had just said no. And I just feel so bad for Levi too, because for viewers or watchers that are listening or watching, if you watch or read the Wings or Levi's story, the No Regrets, Levi is a character who has a lot of baggage to who he is as building up, and you know, to see someone like him like know that, man, I could have saved all these lives. And before he kills the Titans, he looks at one of them in the eye and calls them, like he says their name. He's like, and he knows like, okay, that's it. So he has to kill them. And I wish they animated the scene better instead of just him being in the trees. I wish they kind of just showed him fighting off the Titans, but they kind of cut these sequences really quick.
Well, I mean, that's where the issue, my issue with the entire series comes up, because you can really see it in the scene. So my issue with MAPPA is that they do a much better at getting it closer to the manga. Like the artwork, it looks much more similar to the manga. And for the manga readers, it's the artwork isn't why you're really reading the manga. It's mostly the story. And it's not bad, it's passable. But what made season 1 to 3 so good is that they went above and beyond. Like they actually have when you compare like the art style from the season 1 to 3 to the manga, they're almost completely different. The original studio has their own style and their own. It's very clean, very smooth when it comes to action and when they do their dialogue. And it's in a way, it's very flawless. Like for me, like before season 4, basically just if we're just saying season 1 and 3, in my opinion, it's one of the best, if not the best anime of all time. Because when you look at consistency, you look at a very varied story genre with politics and the whole monsters and even more politics. It's very seamless. But my issue with Mappa is that they're only passable in my opinion. They do a good job. It's not as bad as like all the haters saying it's bad. And it's like I said before with the haters, that people are over hating it, but because of that, people are also over defending it it just has a lot of flaws to me. Because season 1 and 3 are so good for me, the bar is set very high.
Yeah,
I can because and the bar it is set very high, and that's my issue with the especially the action sequences for with the way Mappa handle it. The overuse in CGI, and when you compare the CGI to the animation, it's just the animations are just not on the more animated scenes are just not on par when you look at how good season 1 and 3 are. And that's just like a more of a nitty bitty. It's just more of a gripe for me. And that's what really drags it down the most for me. It's because it just kind of ruins a lot of the consistency that season 1 and 3. You just watch season 1 and 3. You can like season 1 came out in 2013 and it looks amazing. That season 1 is amazing.
Yeah, it still stands up to today's standards of animation, even though it's like that far back.
It's like it's like not even just stands out. It's like one of the best. Like
yeah, for sure. Just absolute overall quality.
Yeah.
Like all their posters they use season 1.
Yeah.
Like all the merchandise is all from there.
And that's what like what makes final season with Mappa just a little bit disappointing, because I expected more. And we should expect more because of how high the bar should be set because of season 1 and 3, especially season 3's finale. That was so good.
Yeah. It's
There's a map. Oh, sorry.
go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I was just about to ask, like, I don't really watch too many other animes, but do you find this problem with like other Mappa animes at all?
Jujutsu Kaisen is freaking amazing.
Really?
It's not
So
they're not but like for Jujutsu Kaisen, the first third was really good. The second third was okay when they went to the training arc. But if you go and watch Jujutsu Kaisen, it's season 1's done right now. But you watch those last 2 episodes, they are absolutely fire. And for me, it's like maybe Mappa's just doing too much. Because the thing is, they should have put a lot of that animation work into, because they can do it. Mappa can do it. Like, if you watch Jujutsu Kaisen with God of High School, it's a whole new story. I'm not a fan, but Jujutsu Kaisen, Jujutsu Kaisen, the first third and the final act proves that Mappa can do it. Like, they can do it. And for me, I feel like maybe they just had too many projects. I feel like they're a little bit lazy, in my opinion, which is why I said the thing is because they stuck too close to the manga with the art style, whereas you look at the original season 1 and 3, they went above and beyond and have their own style, and it was very clean.
You don't think COVID had to do anything with this at all, or no? Probably not.
I don't think so.
It's possible, because you look at Re:Zero suffered just a little bit. Because if you compare to Re:Zero. Yeah, but because in Re:Zero, they did it all at home, and they still did an amazing job.
Don't even get me started with Re:Zero, because like the fact that these animators did it from home and they just put it up in the cloud and shared it, dude, that's some crazy ass shit for these animators, man.
I think COVID definitely had an effect on the entire anime industry.
I think definitely with like release times for sure with COVID.
Yeah.
I don't think they were sure, like, man, should we release this with this pandemic going on? But now that everything's, I don't want to say it's going back to normal. And like they sorted out the schedule, yeah. But still, I mean, with the amount of time, I'm more optimistic. I say like with the amount of time that Mappa had with Attack on Titan, they pushed out pretty good content overall. It's just like Moang said, it's just kind of being nitpicky. Like, you know, we've seen what you could have done, but you didn't do it.
It could have been a lot better. But I mean, it's passable. Like for me, it's passable. It's good. I'm not hating on it. I don't think it's bad, but I still reserve my opinions on it because my personal expectations are so much higher because of how good season 1 and 3 is. And I gave season 1 and 3 I give the entire a high score. Like I'm literally gonna say it's one of the best, if not the best, animes out there, just from 1 to 3. But then when you add in season 4, it's harder for me to say that.
Yeah, because like I guess it comes up. Isayama's really inspired, or inspired by Game of Thrones as well.
Mm.
So when you have that kind of like that level of just overall storytelling and animation, like we kind of wanted it to be like, oh man, if you start off with the bang, we want you to finish it like with super explosives, So I think that's where a lot of the expectations come from with Attack of Titan, especially it being the last season, because I think because of Game of Thrones, really, like we don't want to see a botched ending. That's what it is. We don't want to see a ruined or rushed ending.
I thought you were being sarcastic at first when you said he was inspired by Game of Thrones by just having a crappy ending.
Oh no! I would be so mad. But you see, I was like, I love Game of Thrones, so I'm going to ruin Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I think the issue won't be the story. I love the story. I like where they went with the story. My issue is mostly just for production quality.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, man. Like Attack on Titan had, if anything, the only issues that Attack on Titan had was the fact that they had to find studios. Other than that, if they had consistent, like for example, because I just say like if Studio Bones picked up Attack on Titan and stayed consistent with it, like how they are with My Hero Academia, oh my god, would this show be so fucking amazing? Like even more top tier than it is now. The fact that the only issues they had was just studio stuff, and they still push out this kind of content, dude, it's amazing. But back to the forest. I know we had this little tangent here. John, I was going to ask you next. Like, what were your thoughts on just the whole forest scene, especially with Levi and Zeke fighting for the third time?
For Zeke's such a badass. Like he's always just like I don't even know why Zeke even Zeke even fights at all. But it's like Levi's always just cutting it up. Yeah, but at first I thought he wasn't going to kill his was it the army members? Because he kind of made that little, what is it?
His subordinates.
Yep, the subordinates. Yeah, because he made that little inner monologue, like, "Are you still in there?" And then they kind of cut to another scene. I'm like, huh, did he leave all of them? And it's like, oh nope, he had to kill everybody. I feel bad
Levi.
For Levi. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying I feel bad for Levi because how you were saying earlier, going through so much stuff, like letting them drink the wine, he has so much regret about that, or kind of on his conscience. It's the same thing with Eren, where it's like, I should have just killed the guy back then. Yeah. He's like, I protected this guy all these years, and now he's doing all this. All my other subordinates and all my other friends have all died because I let this dude live.
Did you watch the short story with Levi when he got introduced to Eren and and his friends got eaten?
No, it's the little side. I'm waiting for that. I checked that out from the library, but it's still being sent.
Yeah, because
you should watch it.
John and I, we kind of talked about this in the messages too, in our personal messages. I told him about Levi's background story with no regrets, and it's with Levi's story, like I said, man, this dude is a complete savage, man. He, as much as it hurt him to do that, he still gives no fucks. At the end, they're Titans, man, and that's what I'm good at. I'm killing these Titans, and the fact that he cut up Zeke so much faster than he did back in season 3, and just ripped him out and cut off his legs and tied him up and shit like that, and had the thunder spears. Dude, Levi is he's an absolute monster in the show.
He was probably dreaming that every time, probably every minute of the day. He's just picturing that, when can I do this? When can I do this?
His hands are itching, yo, I want to do this to you so bad right now.
I don't know why he didn't
cut that muscle and cut that mess off.
I'm surprised he didn't kill him right there. He should have just murdered Zeke right there and ate him.
I think with Levi though, I think he, as much as he'd hate to admit it to himself, I think Levi still kind of has some sort of hope with Eren, because Erwin had so much belief in Eren and what they could have done. But I think Levi too, at the same time, he knows what's real. He's very realistic with what's happening. He's like, the choices you make affect everything that's going to happen. So I think he still holds on to Erwin in that sense, but as himself, I think Levi is just like, I want to kill this guy. So right now, let me just get rid of this dude, man.
He made that promise to Eren. He literally hasn't kept his promise yet.
Yeah. What were your guys' thoughts though, like on the fact that like he kept Zeke alive, but he tied him up and tied him to that thunder spear. And it's like, you move a little bit, that thing's gonna go off. What were your guys' thoughts on that? Like how he just had Zeke in that little cart.
That was a bad idea. I think Levi's IQ was a little bit low that time, but at the same time, maybe he thought maybe that would have killed him. But that's just so dangerous for Levi to do that, because then he's literally, he that made him vulnerable too.
Mm-hmm. Especially being in a little cart where it's like, dude, you should have been in like 2 carts. You could have done that, but like just like yell at him.
Plus, Zeke made it super obvious too.
Yeah, I think maybe Levi just took his chances on that. Like, I don't think. I don't think he thought Zeke would do some sort of kamikaze shit like that. I don't think.
Also, he probably I don't know how he would have survived that. Like taking a thunder spear in your like right next to you and Zeke surviving that. I don't know, man.
And since we're on this topic too, like with Zeke being in the cart, with this episode, like we're almost towards the end now at this point. Zeke's backstory gets told, and then John messaged me. He's like, I don't know if I should feel bad for Zeke or because when you learn what Zeke went through and how he's a victim himself. It's not like he chose. Yeah, all these choices he's made them, but then it's. To him, he's feeling it's like justice to his cause.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start off with you, John. What were your thoughts on just like Zeke's backstory being told and seeing more of who he is as a character?
Yeah, like I kind of message you where it's like, I'm like, I don't want to like him. I don't want to like feel bad for him, but I'm like, dang, I do. And I realize like everyone in the show kind of has crappy dads, which makes me kind of grateful. Where I was like, it's like, well, then I was like, what? I'm like, man, if your fathers would have just been better fathers, maybe none of this would have happened.
Maybe that's like low key. I'm telling people like, be good dads.
Yeah. Stop working so much. Come home. Yeah. Give your kids a hug once in a while, and don't push them to be doctors or warriors every day.
Yeah, pushing your ideology on your kids, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like with this review of like how Zeke felt about their dad, because now like when you see how Zeke felt, it gives you a different perspective of Grisha Yeager, like how Eren saw his dad, and now how Zeke sees his dad. Even to the point where they finally meet, Zeke's like, you're caught up in his brainwashing, like you are like our dad. I want to set you free type of thing. And it's so crazy to see like these two men practically have different viewpoints of life coming from the same dad. And what were your guys' thoughts on just Zeke overall? Like, because now we learned that why Zeke turned his parents in, versus just hearing it from or seeing the memories that Zeke betrayed them. Now we see why he turned in his parents, because it wasn't just so much for just being like for the Liberation Army or whatever that they were doing, but he loved his grandparents too. And then talking with Kasaber, that the previous Armor Titan, he was getting ideology.
Yeah, Beast Titan.
Yeah, he was getting the ideology from him too. And he told Zeke, like, if you love your people, or if you find what you want to do right, just do it. Don't do it for other people. And I think that's where like Zeke just kind of say, all right, I'm going to do what I think is right. And to him, we kind of see that flashback of that old man was like, you monsters or you devils keep breeding. And this is why like our world is like this. And so I think this kind of affects him to where like he wants to do this euthanization idea towards the Eldians. And we talked about this earlier, how kind of fucked up that is. Because John, you said that he's doing it to his own people, So why not just try to win your people over versus destroying or getting rid of your people?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
John,
pretty much my point originally was like, why are you slaughtering all these people? Where it's like I don't know, kind of a mean plan, like kind of like to make everyone like, was it infertile or yeah, can't think of the word. Can't give birth. But it's like some people would definitely be on your side rather than just like killing everybody.
and Mo, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it was great how they explained, like they in a way they explained why he was such a psychopath and willing to murder. Like on the end of season 3, he was literally murdering all the scouts by the drones, and he was just treating it like a ball game. I mean, with that context, with the ball game, explaining the baseball, and then explaining the why he doesn't even feel any remorse when he murders drones of people with rocks. I think it's cool how they explain why. Yeah, that the way he grew up and his ideology, and how Grisha's ideology, his made sense. Because his sister died and he just hated the Marleyans, but then because he was so focused on hate and focused on rebellion, he's the reason that caused Zeke to think the way he did, to be alone and to feel like he wasn't good enough. And I mean, yeah, you feel bad for Zeke, and you kind of realize why he thinks the way he does, even as flawed as his thinking is. I mean, every character is pretty much flawed in a way, and I think it just adds a lot more context. I think that flashback added a lot of context to Zeke, and you do feel for him, even though he's definitely in the wrong. But it added a great scene. It added a lot of character development to Zeke. I think for me, it's just tough because the way Isayama times his flashbacks and explanations, it's brutal because then he makes you want to hate them first.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for me for Zeke's character, like I really despised how brutal this guy was. How even though he's Eren's half brother, like this guy gave no fucks. He was
from season 2.
Yeah, he wanted to do everything his way. He had the power to do it, and really, like it's like I don't want to compare him to Thanos, but he's someone that has the power to do what he wants to do, and it's really hard to stop someone like that when they already have everything that they need to have a successful plan. And if anything, I guess since we're using Thanos as the example, Zeke thought that maybe Eren could be his Infinity Stones. And this is where like it kind of turns on Zeke a little bit too, because we know that Eren's ideas of like he's really obsessed with these ideas of being free. So I don't think really that the euthanization idea is something that Eren would agree with anyway, because
probably not.
I feel like it goes against his ideas of like what he wants. So we'll start with D. John. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Eren is going to go through with what Zeke wants at the end?
I kind of agree with that, where it's like, I don't think he will. Like, I feel like I still have a little bit of hope he'll do something good. And, like, I kind of messaged you about this originally. We're going back a little bit to the scene where he's telling Mikasa that, like, you have no willpower. I think that's kind of BS. Just my personal opinion. What about Mung? What do you think?
I think it was tough because that was literally the one scene that they made it super obvious that she would automatically protect him, especially when Armin tried to punch him and she automatically like almost broke his arm. I think, in my opinion, I think where Isayama is gonna go, I think just for a prediction, I think Mikasa is gonna kill Eren. Because Eren's probably, I think what's gonna happen is Eren's gonna kill Zeke. He's gonna become like the big bad guy, and then maybe the rumbling might happen and kill a crap ton of Marleyans. I think basically a lot of people are gonna die, and I think the way it's gonna end is with Eren dying. And I think the perfect person to kill Eren would be Mikasa, to prove that she wasn't in love with him, basically, rather than just being a guard. Because basically that's what Eren said. Like when her instincts triggered, she's basically forced to protect Eren for the rest of her life, and that's why she felt the way she did. But I think they're gonna go for like a really dramatic ending where she kills him because she loves him, basically.
I'm going to stop you right there, Mo, before we get into theorizing the ending, because we're almost done with with this review with season 4. But yeah, just kind of to touch up here to kind of backpedal a little bit. So we find out Zeke's motives and what he wants, and now back to the Paradise Island where they're at, where the Jaegerists and their uprising. Obviously, Eren. We all know this scene with Eren, Armin, and Mikasa in the room together with Gabby in there, and like we mentioned before, Eren has his bloody hand ready to trigger right away. He's like, I'm about to, you guys move or fuck up. I'm doing it, So, and what's fucked up too is like he's doing that to his friends, the people he grew up with, and he's putting them on like death row already. He's like, you guys can't mess up. I'm here to talk. Let's just have this talk. And this is where like a lot of confusion came up, because now people think that there's I know what happens based on the manga, but then just from watching it from an anime watcher's perspective, it is confusing now, because now people are like, so is Mikasa really under this, not spell, but under this like
instinct control?
Yeah, this instinct to protect someone because she's an Ackerman. And is this something that is this something that she's or like she's just subconsciously doing versus like free will? And again, this ties into a lot of the ideology that Eren has, and he uses that against them. And for the first time, we see Armin step up and be a man finally, and he swings at Eren, and he throws the first punch. And then, this scene kind of like broke my heart a little bit too, even when I read this in the manga, where Eren's like, we never fought in real life, and there's a reason why we never did it. And he beats the shit out of Armin, dude. He gives him the hands and just tears him apart and just beats his ass to the floor and makes him to this bloody mess. And it makes a lot of viewers think like, man, Eren really, does Eren even really care about his loved ones, especially if he's doing that to someone like Armin? And just watching that part of the anime, I'm like, dude, like they did a good job making you feel like Armin's pain and Mikasa's pain and Eren and what Eren's going through. And just again, people forget, Gabby's literally sitting in that room watching this shit unfold.
Yeah.
Like imagine her just like, I thought y'all was friends, man. You guys are like doing this to each other too. And it's so crazy. So John, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on that? Just seeing Eren just react that way to Armin.
To mention Armin first, I know this is separate, but I feel like I'm disappointed at how little of a role he has in this season compared to like every other season, where I feel like he's so smart, he's so capable and all this, and then he finally gets a Colossus like Titan, and then it's like, oh, he's just like a tiny side character of everything. But anyways, to go back to that scene.
That's a good point.
I was like, dang, Eren, cold-hearted. But like the Mikasa thing, I think BS, just because like I think this is just all like psychological mind play. Because I think he or she protected him real quick, because like that's what you've been doing for like what, 8 years now? If you're doing that since you're little kids, and you see that face, and then someone's going to attack him, and you've been doing that every single day for years and years, of course you're going to be doing that. Like, I don't think it's like any prophecy or anything like that, or their blood in that sense, but I don't know. There's still part of me that hopes that Eren was still playing this, like, I don't know, trying to protect them somehow, but I think I have to accept the fact that he's just like so lost, which I don't know what you guys know or what you guys think about this, but like I'm curious like how much of like the past memories is affecting his like psychological like decisions right now.
That's a very great point that you bring up, and I'll touch up on that in a bit. But Moang, you can answer that first.
I personally think it's a little bit too telegraphed, because when you at the end of season 3, you look at how much Eren cared for Armin, dude was literally crying and friggin' Levi's punching his teeth out. And he was begging. He was legit begging Levi to pick Armin. And I think Eren's mostly just putting on a front. I think there's no way that Eren doesn't not care about Mikasa and Armin. I think because he's so cold hearted right now. For me, it feels a little bit telegraphed, especially the way he treated Mikasa. Because I 100% don't believe him when he said that he hates Mikasa. It just doesn't make sense. It's more of he's kind of turned his heart cold in order to fulfill his goals, because that's what he has to in order to fill whatever goals he has, which is to do the rumbling, which seems pretty big. Like people are gonna die, and to do that goal, there's no way that I just don't think that his friends. It seems like his friends definitely wouldn't agree with it, and the way Hanji, their side, the military side. I mean, I think it adds a lot of contrast too, especially with the whole military eye, because the whole arc is meant to show that it doesn't matter who's in control. There's always going to be people rebelling against you, because during the first half of season 3, it was them rebelling against the government. Now that Hanji and the current scouts now that they're in control, they're in the same position as the old government. They're getting attacked by the Jaegerists because they used to be the Jaegerists. So it shows a really stark contrastion compared to how it doesn't matter who's in control. There's always going to be people that don't like the rules, that are going to want someone else to be a leader, and going to be against. They're basically just against rules, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you're the rebels and you're in control, then you're the next to be rebelled against. I think that kind of plays a role into the whole decision making and why why it makes sense for Eren to be the leader of the Jaegerists and doing what he's doing, because there's no way that there are going to be people that agree with Eren's ideas, because he's so. That's why, because it works so much better with Zeke, because Zeke's already kind of crazy. And I'm assuming, yeah, with the whole theories and stuff, but that's just kind of like a stark contrastion of why he's doing what he's doing, because of government control and Eren having to do what he has to do. And it's just kind of, like I said, it's really, it's kind of telegraphed because of the way he's treating his friends. And you look at how much of a little girl he was in season 3, he's literally begging just to save Armin. So there's no way that Eren's fully gone. He's just doing what he has to do.
Yeah, I think with Eren's, like I said before, Eren has all the chips are in Eren's hands. He literally he's the pretty much like Zeke. He has the power to do what he wants. Now he's just about enacting his ideas. Now with what's going on too, especially with the Jaegerists and this uprising that Eren has, and all these people are convicted with the ideas that, man, Eren, we need to agree with Eren in order to survive, because now it's not even just about Paris, it's about like the war that's going on, because now the people know that there's outside armies and stuff like that, and they don't want to be imprisoned anymore. And so a lot of ideas and a lot of clashing disagreements, especially. And I forgot to bring up one character too, Yelena, how she plays a huge part in what's going on, and why like she's so convicted by Eren too, and Zeke. And she plays I don't think she plays a huge part really, but she is someone that you see that is like, she's following Eren because she believes in what he's doing. She believes in their ideas, but now she's seeing it come to light. And especially with Eren having that kind of power, it really shows who's really in control in the series. And I think with the other characters like Armin and Mikasa, like it's hard for them to believe that Eren's already having that much control. And I think they still view him as the one that they knew. And it's kind of hard to accept that, because it's like seeing your best friend become like a supervillain. You've seen the good sides in them, and now you see him, like you see that your friend who has absolute power in their hands, and I don't think they can accept that just yet. But
Yeah. You think Hitler's friends, like childhood friends, felt this way?
I'm pretty sure they.
it's
I don't think.
Yeah, or you
possible.
think he was always an asshole?
It could be that too.
I'm telling you, Ricky, you need to watch Code Geass.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring that up to how. Yeah, because Code, like I know that Code Geass has like very similar ideas and stuff like this with the hero being in a villain umbrella type of thing.
Those are the type of characters I like, basically, because it's much more dynamic to have a character that isn't like my issue with, for example, like Superman as a character. He's just well, not really. I guess it's too many different timelines. I guess my issue with someone like Goku, he's just a good character. Like he's always good. And there's if you really look at like Luffy and Goku, they're and especially the final arc of Naruto, their character is just too good, and there's really no and especially Tanjiro too. My issue with Tanjiro, for example, their character is just very simple. They're just so good that they're good, and they
Boy
make people
Scouts,
cry.
man.
Yeah, they're just Boy Scouts, and it's not bad. But the thing is, it's boring in my opinion because it's so easy to write a character that's just perfect and he's good all the time. But you look at characters like Lelouch, characters like Light Yagami, even though he's got his own issues, but it's much more it's much more interesting to see those characters interact with other characters because they're so flawed in their thinking, but they're so smart at the same time. You want to know what they're gonna do, and you want them to either succeed or fail. But the thing is, it's so there's so much going on in their minds. It's more fun. It's more fun and not a lot less predictable, because that's like I absolutely love OG Naruto, but I'm not a big fan of like the end game Naruto because he's just a good guy. He's just perfect. Like you look what he did to Pain. He made him he turned Pain good because he was so good. But Naruto, he beat Jonins with his fucking sexy no jutsu.
I think you brought up a good point though. Like with I'll pick it back off of what you said about Superman. I think and John can agree with you too. Like with Superman and Batman, like these two characters are two heroes in the same coin, but these guys have different perspective on things. Batman has every opportunity to be a bad guy if he wanted to do it, but he doesn't. Mm-hmm. And it just makes him more relatable because he doesn't have like superpowers like Superman, but Superman's such a Boy Scout. And then what makes it worse for Superman is like he's too damn powerful. Like you're a Boy Scout and you're all powerful. Like no, that's too much good. Like we need to like dim you down a little bit. So that's why we needed the injustice. Do you have anything you like to say, John, about this topic so far?
I don't know. I like it, but yeah, I feel like you guys see The Boys or read it or watch it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like Homelander is just like the other end of that.
Homelander's hilarious. I love Homelander.
Yeah.
Dude,
but he's so good. He's so good at being a bad guy, but he's such a dick.
Oh yeah. You ever see him in real life? Like he kind of looks like Chris Hemsworth, and like I didn't recognize him at all. He was like wearing glasses, and he like had like brown hair and whatnot. I was like, wait, this is Homelander? He doesn't look evil. I'm like, what's going on here?
Tangent here really quick. The actor who plays Homelander, he does it so convincingly well. I feel bad for actors like him because like people in real life can't differentiate that, and they think he's really like Homelander.
Well, there's the whole Captain, the new Captain America thing going on there. They're sending him death threats.
Yeah,
dude. Oh my god, like people are.
Haven't they learned this from Joffrey? Joffrey was such a good actor, and he's such a good character because people hated him.
I feel like I feel like when an actor gets a death threat, you should automatically give him an Oscar. Be like, all right.
Yeah. That should be an achievement.
Yeah.
Here's an extra check. Here you go. Because we're sending you death threats. It's crazy though. Yeah. I mean, with these actors doing that too, and then bringing it back to Eren, like Eren is such a great. In a way, Eren could be a really great actor. We don't know that yet, but the way how he's acting right now, it's a lot of viewers are seeing him like maybe he is just the big bad. Or because like now, again, there were those memes on Facebook and on Instagram. Like Eren is everything. He's the protagonist. He's the antagonist. He's the good guy. He's the bad guy. Like he's everything that a main character shouldn't be, but he is, and it makes him so much more different as a protagonist of the story because he is willing to push boundaries in this story to get what he wants at the end, and it doesn't matter who's in his way. He's going to do it. And closing up with this with season 4, I mean, you see it in when Piek and Galliard, when they infiltrate Paradise Island, and Eren is doing whatever he can to figure out what their ideas are. He even spares Piek because he wants to know more. And I love this last part because it kind of mirrors off what Eren did in season 3. And he tells Piek, like, where are the enemies at? And she turns around and she points at Eren, like, that's the enemy right there. And it's kind of like it mirrors to what Eren did at the beach, because he at the beach, Eren points out to the sea. He's like, so our enemies are over there. And it, like, these two people, again, like we've said, these are the same people. They're Eldians, Titan shifters. You know, they have practically the same blood running in them, but they're fighting against each other based off of different ideologies. And you kind of see even Piek's point of view. Like, she finally gets some more screen time, and you see, like, when she was bluffing to Eren, like, oh no, I hated the Marlenes. I never wanted to be a part of them. You know, I'm just doing it to survive. There's some truth in that with what she said, but she's still stuck by, like, look, I think she told Gabby, she's like, you know, don't forget the ones that were helping you in war. And that's where you see all the airships come in, and you see Reiner come in, and it ends off with this huge climactic scene, and also with Galliard transforming and biting Eren's legs, and the way how they end this season, man, it's such a cliffhanger, because it's right to the point where you know there's another war coming. There's another big fight scene coming.
Yeah.
So, I'll start with you, John. What were your thoughts on this last part of season 4, part 1? How they wrapped it up? What were your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, I definitely got tricked by Piek because he definitely changed sides, and I was like, and I thought that was going to be the turning point for Gabby as well. I'd be like, ooh, yeah, Zeke's on this side, and this person, Nicolo, fell in love with Sasha, and all this. I thought that was going to be like the icing on the cake. That kind of showed, like, Gabby's like, yo, don't be so crazy. It's like maybe your ideology is a little bit flawed. Yeah, but no, I'm ready for the next season. I was excited to see Reiner, but I'm also curious how, like, if he finds out whether Falco drank some of, like, Zeke's blood, that, like, he's hurt, if that will affect how Reiner fights at all, or his actions at all.
Yeah.
I can't add on to it because I know what happens, but that's
Yeah.
Mong, what are your thoughts on how they wrapped it up?
I mean, it's not really too much. It's just a lot of building up, a lot of clash of ideologies, and I feel bad for Gabby and Falco. They're just kind of caught in the middle of it. And then I'm ready to just see Eren wipe the floor with everybody. And then, and Mikasa and Armin. Hopefully Armin gets some more screen time. That dude was useless this entire season. And then because I know because now Levi's basically handicapped. And then
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention. Yeah, I forgot to mention.
Basically, they just nerfed him just so that because we know that he's so strong that he probably could kill Eren. So they had to nerf him. So the final battle is basically going to be either reliant on Mikasa or Armin.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this though: since you guys don't read the manga, do you guys think Levi even survived that blast?
I'm pretty sure he survived it.
I would say yes. Yeah, I feel like
I'm pretty sure.
Hurt, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he survived it, and then it was just basically his final battle was with Zeke, and then what's probably gonna happen is he's handicapped. Like, it's just basically he's gonna survive, and he's gonna be handicapped, and he won't be able to fight the final battle, which makes sense because he's kind of built up to be this super strong soldier, and I'm pretty sure if he was in the final battle, they'd either have to have him like get stalled or something, or because. Dude, the way he toys with, he's able to just beat Zeke. I'm pretty sure he'd be able, like, him plus Mikasa and Armin would probably almost destroy Eren. So I think it makes much more sense from a story perspective for the final battle to be between Mikasa, Armin, and Eren. It's possible that Levi dies, but I don't think he's gonna die. I think he's basically his legs are gone, and then he's like maybe just handicapped, so he won't be able to fight. Basically,
Yeah, like I don't see them like killing him like off screen and like without the other characters too.
yeah.
I feel like it's not as impactful as well.
Yeah, I think with I'll just leave it at this. Like where I think Levi, he's too important of a character for them to write off like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even let's just say I'm not gonna tell you guys if he lives or dies, but let's just say he dies. What then? Because Levi carries a huge part of the show, not just because he's a like favorite. But he has an impact on he has an impact on Eren. He has ties with Eren and Mikasa, and there are things that story wise wouldn't match well because if he goes, there are things that him and Eren had in common or that could wrap up together too.
Yeah. I think Armin and Mikasa are much more important than Levi. Levi has more of an insight on the old military and the new one. I think he that's why it makes him the most important. And I think I mean if anything, I think Hanji would die before Levi. But I don't know. I think it could go either way. Everyone could end up dying.
You never know, man. That's like I said, the Isayama dude. That guy just throwing darts at a wall. He's taking out whoever.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious about like the future, where it's like I don't know if he's gonna go a more positive route, or if he's just gonna go what he's been doing, where it's just like killing off everybody. Where it may just end with the rumbling, where it's like who knows, the whole world just may be gone. Yeah.
But I also don't envy Isayama because when you get to this point in the story and you have so many built-up characters, it's very hard to kill off characters. Which is why I like season 1 so much. Because the first time Eren, when they finish training and they're ready to fight the Titans and the second attack on Trost, and just watching the first squad get wiped, including Eren, was like.
Like you think they're ready and they just get murked.
The freaking protagonist gets eaten and he doesn't come back for like 3-4 episodes. I'm like, bruh, it's anime.
I think that's what makes it overall so well too. It's like you see, like we've mentioned it before, Isayama gives you many reasons to tie into these characters and to relate to these characters, whether they're good or bad. There's a lot of relatability to them, and I think what he's done as a writer overall, man, if he doesn't know by now, this fucker's written a fucking masterpiece with this series. Again, but the manga will be ending on April 9th. I am dreading these next couple days, man, because as an Attack on Titan fiend, I'm not ready to let go of this story, man. Like this is going to be such a hard story to shut and to close and to accept the fact that this story is done, man, because it has really been a big part of my life, as not like just in anime in general, because honestly, as a lot of the listeners know, I was never big into anime like that until recently. And Attack on Titan is one of those animes that I held on to.
It's been around, so like it was easy to just to stop, and then you just come back to it because it's been around for so long.
But yeah, man, this show is insanely well written and insanely good. I'm not just saying it to say it. Any viewers or watchers who have not watched this show, please do it now. But before we officially wrap things up here, do you guys have any last, I guess, input or predictions on what's to come for Attack on Titan? John, we'll start with you.
I think it's going to be revealed that the viewers are Eldians, and Eren has manipulated our memories, and actually the whole thing is a dream. Nah, I'll be pissed if that happens. Yeah,
there's so many that like that theory though. There's so many people predicting that theory. Everyone thinks that it's a dream.
Yeah,
it's like Rick waking up from the coma. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
They're basically in the Matrix 2.0.
Oh shit, dude! What a slap in the face with that.
Or this is a story from like one of the Titans telling it about like humans. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, like have you guys read Walking Dead? I know spoiler.
I read bits and pieces of it. I read the ending.
You finished? Yeah.
I stopped though. I read some of the comics, but then mostly just for spoilers. But then like with Glenn,
Yeah.
but it's the show just got really boring. I think the peak was like when Glenn died.
Oh yeah. But like the comic kind of ends with what's Rick's son's Carl. Yeah, he's like reading a story to like his daughter. And and it's like
like
it's so different from the show too because Carl died. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
John, you brought up a great point with that, with Carl reading the book. I'm not confirming anything, but I know Isayama revealed his last panel for Attack on Titan, which I'm not going to tell you guys. You guys can look it up if you guys want to, but he did reveal that last panel. And it could be like that. You never know. Because, I mean, in a sense, the anime is narrated by Armin. So could it be that Armin survives too? Or he's the one that's telling the story?
Most likely, I would think Falco and Gabby, maybe. Or maybe Falco telling... I still have hope that maybe they... Mainly Falco. He's like kind of the hope for humanity.
I can see it. There is a lot of hope for Falco. Because he's like you said, man, this character, he's literally in the middle of seeing everything. And he doesn't see it as good or bad. He just knows that what he has to do as a person.
He's just a good person in general.
Yeah, but well, the thing too is he's voiced by Tanjiro, so of course.
Yeah, we got Tanjiro, and then we had wasn't Deku in there? Someone too.
I think Deku was. Yeah, I think Deku was the voice of one of the characters in there. I forgot who.
I know. I heard it was. Yeah, because I know the Tanjiro was Vago, and then Deku was somebody. Because I remember, I'm like, dude, we're hearing all these popular voice actors and freaking Attack on Titan.
They're all getting like fucking cameos and shit at the last minute. But okay, but Moang, what's your thoughts on I guess if you have any last minute theories or
I'm not really overthinking it. I'm not going too woke into the Alex Jones theories.
I believe that all the Titans are actually people. They're the globalists.
The Titans are turned to human.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more of a build up to really good, or I mean, it's gonna be both satisfying and a very unsatisfying ending, like a bittersweet ending, most likely, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be tough, because especially with Mappa, I would rather have a trilogy or maybe just one big final movie for the ending, because it's gonna have to be on freaking Demon Slayer Infinity Train level. Like, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to be like way better than Infinity Train. I'm just expecting a big bang and crying.
the way how the show has to end, man, you cannot let anything like cliffhangers, none of that. I can see Isayama giving us an open ending and like an open
ending makes sense because
but you have to end it in a way where it's like jaw dropping, man. Like you can't have weak endings in this finale.
Yeah, I think because his loose ends are always an issue too, especially when we had the Demon Slayer discussion. Why I personally the things that I dislike about the manga, basically, with all the loose endings and unexplained things, with Attack on Titans, they've done such a good job at cutting. Dude, the loose ends are basically really well done. They like, especially with a lot of the villains, like it's a little bit slow, but it makes sense and it kind of builds everything up. And so
Isayama always goes back to what he's written.
And I have very, very, very high expectations for the ending. I mean, for me, they already started off on the wrong foot with Mappa, but it's still possible to be good. I'm not too excited, I guess, for the next part. I mean, I'm excited for the fighting, and I'll watch it for sure. But just seeing how they treated Levi's fight scene, it's kind of like a meh for me. I'm always gonna value season 1 and 3 much higher than the final season. Other than that, I'm excited for the movie. If anything, if they do a movie, but if we continue to get this level of production for the rest of the series, it's gonna be, honestly, I'm gonna be a bit disappointed.
I can see that. But yeah, man, Again, I want to say thank you to Moang and John for joining me in this. I don't like really saying roundtable talk, but in this discussion of Attack on Titan season 4, this has been great. I mean, shit, we're almost near 2 hours really with this discussion about season 4. But thank you guys for doing this with me, man. Like, I really appreciate your guys' inputs. I know, John, was this your first time doing like a podcast type of ordeal?
I did one once, like a couple years ago, but I seriously only talked about like salsa and pizza. So yeah,
I honestly, I give you props, man. Like, don't doubt yourself, man. You did really well with our discussions. I enjoyed hearing your perspective on this stuff too, because it's great to always have someone else's perspective on the things that we all like and love. And again, thank you to Moang for always hopping in on these anime reviews. I know he's always pushing me to look for anime, dude. Like,
I love anime.
yeah, I could tell. Yeah, just by your passion, I can tell you love it.
I mean, that's nice. That's like it's both a flaw. It's both like a good thing and a bad thing, because then it's hard for me to see anime as a casual fan now, because I'm always comparing it to other animes. So I have a very high I have a much higher standard when it comes to anime. So it's like, I can tell you if it's worth watching or not, but at the same time, I'll tell you to watch all of it too.
But yeah, man, again, thank you guys for doing this. And for the listeners and watchers that are tuning in, I'll be doing the Attack on Titan manga review with another cousin of mine who's read the manga. So that episode will be dropping, I want to say the same weekend this one is. So just be on the lookout. If not, then it might be a week or two after. But this episode will be dropping maybe like from today's the 4th. So maybe like in the next week and a half or so, because there's 2 other episodes I already have lined up before this one. I just wanted to squeeze this Attack on Titan topic in so that I have it out there. But I will try to release these episodes as soon as possible, just to be in the time frame of what's happening right now, because it's only been a week so far, but since the anime is done. But again, thank you guys so much for joining in on this topic, and especially just this episode. And can't say it enough, you guys. Thank you guys, John. I hope to have you back on the podcast soon. Maybe there could be some other things we can talk about besides Attack on Titan.
Yeah, pizza.
And yeah, maybe if I do like a boys episode, maybe you can join in on me too. We can talk about the boys.
Oh yeah, dude, I love the boys. That show was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, do boys or Winter Soldier too.
Oh,
I need Soldier. If you do that, I'm down. Invincible's out too.
Okay,
I actually haven't read the comic, but I've been watching the Amazon show.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so much content out there for me to go over. It's gonna be hard to try to be like on top of everything too. But again, thank you guys for doing this. And so this is episode 87 of Spoiler Force Podcast. Continue to like, share, and subscribe to to all the content. If you have not checked out any of the previous episodes, please do. There are tons of other guests that I've spoken to, the other musicians and artists and whatnot. There's other topics besides anime and comic book themed stuff too as well. So I don't spoil everything. I know people get upset at sometimes where they're like, this is spoiler first. You're supposed to say everything. Like, no, there's multiple meanings to that. I could be stopping you from spoilers, or I could just be going all out with spoilers. So it can go either way. But I cannot wait to have you guys back on the podcast again. Thank you guys, and thank you to everyone who tuned in. Again, this is episode 87. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you have any guest recommendations, comments, questions, concerns, or criticism, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com or message me online on any of my social media platforms. Want to listen to more pop culture themed podcasts? Then check out the Epic Sewers Podcast Network. There are shows like the Epic Tales from the Sewers, the Comic Watchers Show, What's in My Head Podcast, and Spoiler Force Podcast. Make sure to follow us each on social media and find us on any major podcasting platform. Thank you for the support.